say doing things that will make you become conversant with the style, then at the end of the day, you will not have a problem. If that is established, the second thing we need to know is that when you look at the timetable for this course, they only put that next week is only going to be, no, next 2 weeks or next week is only going to be a face to face for once or two times. And since we are going to be showing, this course will not allow us to have a face to face. And for that matter, there is going to be an arrangement whereby anytime we are to have the lecture, we meet at Votech department. Those of you who cannot use the industrial sewing machine, you come along with your hand sewing machines. And those of you who can use the industrial sewing machines, you get your own bobbin and bobbin case. Bring your irons along and your pressing cloth along. There are tables that can help you do whatever you want to do, so that we'll be able to assist each other to sew and cut out our desired styles and be able to execute these tasks very well without having problem with anybody. Third, I have just been informed that you are only going to write quizzes, quiz one and quiz two. There will not be any exams. And so when we are working, even though there will not be any exams, but there will be quizzes that we should write. And if your continual assessments are not good at the end of the day, no matter how beautiful and carefully you have taken your time to sew a garment, you will still not get the satisfactory marks that you are desired to get. Fourth, the garments that we are going to sew, you are going to parcel it. At the end of the day, write all your index numbers on it and everything as required and report to the exam center on the day for the clothing construction paper and submit your garment and walk away for it to be delivered to UCC for the coordinator to mark. Are we there? This is the information that we need to establish before we look at the course outline.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Now, if you have opened the course outline, the course description says that the course is a follow-up to the flat pattern and basic clothing courses. What are the basic clothing courses that you have done? You have done practicum in clothing. You have also done flat pattern 1 as well as flat pattern 2 because it was a combined two courses that were given to you. And so for that matter, we assume that the knowledge you have acquired from flat pattern and other courses will be able to assist you to understand basic concepts in fabric selection and also help you to perfect skills in preparation and adaptation of patterns for different designs and construction. What this place means is that for perfecting your skills in preparation and adaptation of patterns, for the bacteria, whether you like it or not, you are going to prepare patterns for it. So this is two in one. Listen very carefully. If you choose cover and slit to sew, you are going to use freehand cutting to sew cover and slit. But it is mandatory to prepare patterns for the invisible bacteria that you did not choose. For us to see your knowledge in pattern making, if you are to do or adapt patterns on a full scale block, how will it look like? So you only prepare patterns for the bacteria, but for If you choose cover and slit, you are required and free to use freehand cutting. So one, you are submitting one garment, and at the same time, you are also submitting patterns for the other garment. Listen very carefully. And if you choose Bastia, you are still going to prepare patterns for the Bastia. So here, when you are submitting the Bastia, you are going to submit Bastia at the same time Bastia patterns, making it two. And if you are submitting slit and cover, you are going to submit slit and cover garment and Bastia patterns. Good. Now, the course description also went further and said fit is an integral part. Therefore, at the end of the day, we are going to fit the garment and see how important it is or how it fits all of us. It gives ample practical experience to students, bearing in mind quality standard of processes used in the industry. The topics covered include fabric selection, preparation, pattern alteration and adaptation, underlying fabrics, construction and teaching methods and techniques. The course, in addition to the use of patterns, exposes learners to the use of freehand cutting methods in construction of foreign and local designs. So you are free to choose either a foreign cover and sleeve or a local cover and sleeve. You are also free to choose any cashier of your choice. So we are to use lectures, discussions, and practical sessions largely to disseminate information and transfer skills from one person to another or from another from others to others. We shall do that. And so the general goal of this course is that we are to prepare ourselves to be able to use the skills acquired in designing and construction in producing articles that meet international standards for commercial and personal use. So even though you are going to use so for your personal use, but the government should still meet the international standards if we should take it out for selling. Then the objective based on knowledge based skills. Objective based on knowledge based skills. So at the end of the day, you are supposed to select and prepare patterns and fabrics adequately for sewing. So the fabric that you are going to choose, make sure they are fabric that are nice. One, they are fabrics that are easy to sew. There are fabrics that are easy to handle by you. There are fabrics that will not trouble you. There are fabrics that can easily be lined because at the end of the day we are going to use a round method which we call a close up method. Two, you use appropriate methods in transferring pattern markings. And three, show competency in the choice and use of underlying fabrics. We shall get to understand what underlying fabrics are. Then apply appropriate techniques of stitching and sewing, techniques of assembling garments, and applying knowledge on construction and teach that meet quality standard. Then course content. Course content. One, fabric selection. preparation for cutting and marking, then factors to consider in selection of fabric for garment making, and then preparation of fabric, preparation of fabric for cutting out, layout, cutting and marking. Then we also have underlining fabrics and other garment suppliers, lining, interfacing, underlining, interlining, and their application. We also have adaptation of pattern for various garment design features. Then point four, methods for assembling garments, techniques of stitching, pressing, and ironing. So at the end of the day, we shall look at the techniques of stitching and pressing as well as the ironing. And then we'll look at the method, unit, flat, and the round method. We'll look at stitching techniques. We'll look at pressing, ironing, and quality of pressing articles. We'll also look at garment assembling processes, quality standard of it. So preparation of garment unit for assembling of parts, and quality standard processes. We shall also look at garment fits, need for checking fit, and ways of checking for fit. Then projects. At the end of the day, you are expected to undertake individual projects consisting of designing and constructing garments of local and foreign culture, nature, for contoured evening wear, that is the Bastia, and then using patterns and traditional wear using freehand cutting. This does not mean that you are going to sew the two. You only sew one, then you prepare patterns for one. Yes, is there a question? If there is a question, kindly ask and let's proceed. Hello.
Hi, sir. With no question.
Yes. Okay. Assessment. You are to write quizzes. You are also to fit the garment for marking, and the marking will contain the competency in construction as well as the end of semester examination will be used to evaluate or assess you people very well. So the references are there. If you want to read further, you look for any of these books. But there is a book for you people. So next week, Code will send the books to the various centers. And I think when you are coming, you bring your 60 Ghana along. That is the cost of each book. 60. See how small it is. God shall help us to pay. Me. So let's start with Unit 1. Unit 1 on fabric selection, preparation for cutting and marking. All right. So when you hear clothing construction, what comes into your mind? Madam Gifty, what is clothing construction?
Please, I think it's making or constructing a design, using a fabric to
Making
construct a
or
design or a
constructing.
garment. Yes,
Okay,
making it.
that's fine. Madam Host, Madam Host, are you on the line? Madam Host has run away. Madam Lorna, Eastern Corridor people, where are you? She's also not there.
Sir, please, I'm here.
Uh-huh. What is construction? Or you
Okay.
want to do like me. When they ask me a question, I say no idea. So when no idea came now, I didn't suffer again. Okay, so basically when we talk of clothing, we say anything that one or put on the body. But I am wondering why construction is also being added to that. But since we say anything worn on the body, that means there cannot be anything worn on the body without something that has been done to it. So therefore, you cannot just pick something in a raw way or raw form and then just apply it in the body. Especially the garment that cover us very well for protection, for adornment, for modesty, and for beautification, for a lot of things. So I am wondering what the construction actually attach itself to the clothing for. So when you look at the construction very carefully, it's about putting the disjointed pieces together to assume a uniform whole, or putting pieces of fabric together to assume a very meaningful and complete whole of a garment. That is what we call construction. So including if you cut a fabric pieces and they are being joined together using stitches to make a garment or other articles like bag, it becomes a construction. So the involving of the adaptation of pattern for your design, making appropriate choice of fabric for the design in terms of cutting, in terms of considering the grain and the patterns, in terms of the construction, using different techniques and enhancement suppliers are all ensuring that an individual is able to have a good construction and a good fit. That is what we want when we are sold. And so you have done the different processes in miniature pieces in your introductory courses and pattern making. So you will come to realize that after you have done all these things, what is left is to transfer these skills into making garments you can wear on your own. And that is why this course has been designed. So if you look at the factors to consider in selection of fabric for garment making, the fabrics vary in origin and as well as the source. Varying in origin and at the same time the sources, this one too, we will leave it for the next semester course, which will be doing textiles. You also realize that as far as the fabrics are varying in their origin and their sources, they also vary in weight and texture. They also vary in color and design or the pattern. And the uses are all in diverse. That means that there are variations in their uses. So they must therefore be chosen with care. And so when you are choosing the fabrics with care from the market for a client or for yourself, there are some dimensions or factors that you as an individual to consider. One, you need to consider the age or the sex of that person. And you'll come to understand that dainty designs, toys, and alphabets in a soft colors for kids, and bold designs are for adults. So if you go and choose a fabric that has toys or alphabets in a soft color way that are meant for adults, then you are making a mistake. Those things are rather supposed to be chosen for kids. And then the bold designs that are also inside the fabric are also supposed to be chosen for adults. So when it comes to the colors, if you see pink, you see green, and you see red colors, they are all suitable for girls. Whilst the blue, brown, and blue black, black itself, they are also suitable for boys. Well, that is why I am putting the word suitable so that nobody will come and question me that what if a guy is wearing a yellow color? What if a guy is wearing a dirty color or a cream color or army green color? Does it mean that those colors are not suitable? They are suitable. Everybody in their choices. But I am just telling you that what is appropriate, the suitability aspect of this color that we are looking at. And so this also boils down, it informs you that not only in the clothing construction that we are in the emphasis of the colors, but when it comes to the spirituality aspect of an individual, the mindset of an individual that is triggering an individual to be active and also to be well connected to the environment and nature of the Almighty Allah. As far as your clothes and others are concerned, you need to be prudent about the colors that you are choosing. And that is why anybody that knows a color that works best for that person doesn't actually suffer much in his or her daily activities as far as his or her social life is concerned. Now, the second factor
Say,
or dimension that you need to look at is the season.
say,
Yes,
please about the choosing of
I'm listening.
colors. About choosing of the colors, considering the sex, can you also talk about considering the skin color?
Yes, you can also consider the skin color.
Okay.
You can also consider the skin color. You see, here you are considering the skin color when you have established the fact that these are the colors that are suitable for ladies. These are colors that are suitable for boys. Then you now come to look at the colors. So which of the colors
That's
are
good.
suitable for my color scheme or tone?
Okay. Mm.
I don't know whether you get me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But you have not established this fact, and then you are just looking at so which color is suitable for my color, my color, my color, my color, my you might choosing a color that will not. That will not. Yeah, so we need to also look at season. Season. Bad heat conductors suitable for winter wear, while good conductors are for warm weather. And so when you are choosing clothes or fabrics for construction, you need to look at the winter as well as the warm weather. Those who are in the north, there are some particular fabrics that they need to be using. Those in the north, there are some colors that they need to be using. Even though the fabric and the nature and the content of the fiber construction within the fabric might be okay perfectly, but the color you are choosing for that particular season or weather might not be suitable. There are some colors when you wear it, no matter what, even when the weather is not bad, but the color will trouble you. Not in terms of the cycle, but in terms of producing the heat or conductivity of the heat. So you need to be mindful. Then the color itself. The third dimension is the color itself. So you realize that time of the day to be used, sex, and complexion of wearer determine the color suitable. Madam, we are coming to you, the one who asked the question. So the time of the day to be used, you consider the time, the occasion that you are going to attend, and what particular time is the occasion going to be held. And at what time during the day are you going to use that particular color? So you consider the color of the fabric when you are choosing to design for the fabric. Then you need to also consider your sex life. Your sex life here, it is in two folds. One, you are a lady. Is the color suitable for a lady, or if the color is suitable for a gentleman? That is one thing you need to establish. Two, the color you have chosen, no, how will it, excite or invite your sex partner to have an interest in you? There are some colors that when you wear as a man in the evening or during daytime, or as a woman when you wear it during the day or in the evening time. That is why we say time of the day to be used. Whether your partner likes it or not, he or she will by all means come and touch you. And in touching you, it will lead one from one thing to another thing. So you consider that, and the complexion of the wearer also determines the color suitability. So the wearer need to look at the person's skin tone and decide whether the color of the fabric will be suitable for that person or not. Other than that, then you don't need to. The fourth dimension is the income or the money available. So all things being equal, if you see a certain color of fabric that you like and the money is not there, it is of no use. If you are considering the season of the fabric that you be used for the season and the money is not there, it is of no use. And so the money plays a very important role here. How much you can, how much you can afford or have are all parts that will help to determine the quality of fabric that you can use to buy. So you need to think about that. Then the fifth dimension is the occasion or the functions that the fabric or the garment is being designed to use for. What are you going to use the garment for? Is the garment going to use for casual wear or wedding? Or is it going to use for the office or a swimwear? or is it going to be used for a beach wear? What is it going to serve use for? So you think about the functionality and then occasion it is going to serve. Think about that before you even start to go and purchase the material. Good. So having established this, we also need to look at the fabric quality. How long the fabric can last and how durable the color, the texture, and the decoration they are also matters a lot. So the fabric quality or the quality of the fabric. So you look at how long it can last, how durable the colors are, the texture, and then the decoration aspect of it. Are there some colors that when you put them inside water, it will start to bleach? And if they are bleaching, how will you manage it? And if you wash it and then you expose it to the sun rays or the waves, how will the environmental factors affect the fabric quality? Texture of it. If you wash it and let it pass through the frictions as well as the pressure rubbing aspect of the washing, how will it affect the texture of the fabric? Is there something that you can iron? Is there something that you wouldn't be able to iron, yet you can wear it very well? They are all part of the fabric quality. Now the style. Do you need a tailored look or a flowing gown? Soft fabrics drip better when you use them, and then a firm ones maintain shape better. So you decide, are you going to use the fabric for a tailored garment? Then you need to look for a firm and a heavy materials that will give you shape when you iron and mold them very well. And if you are not looking at a tailored garment and you are looking for or looking at a design or a garment that you think it will flow very well on your body, following your body silhouette or your body shape, then you need to look for a soft fabric that can grip very well, that can flow according to your shape. That is the style. Then you need to also look at the patterns or the motifs that are found inside the fabric. How well can you manage the motifs or the patterns will make you achieve better design. Otherwise, you have to choose all round patterns. And so somebody you go and choose a fabric that the birds, some birds are flying up, some birds are flying down, some birds are flying to the eastern corridor, some are flying to the western corridor. How do you manage it? So you choose very wisely. And so such a material, if you want to lay them down for to follow the principle of the green line, it will not agree with you. And so, as we said, fitting is very integral. And if you don't cut your material, your fabric according to the green line very well, when you sew it, it is very difficult to lie or to hang very well on you. So you choose your things very well. Do you expect to create and reduce weight on the individual, or you are expected to create a design that will increase the weight with the motives as far as the individual height is concerned? All these things are within your limits that you can decide to manipulate or not to manipulate. It's up to you. Now we look at the weight as one of the dimensions or the factors. Weight, you have to decide Does design require heavy or light fabrics? If it requires heavy fabric, which of the heavy fabric will you choose? If a design require light fabric, what are the light fabric that you need to go for? Do you want to create a bulk or reduce weight on the figure? It's up to you. If the person is already heavy, then you don't need a heavy and a complicated fabric to design for that person. Everything is within your means. You think about it, then you go for it. If you go for it, carefully look at it and examine it very well. Body shape or figure. Before you sew, you check the person very well and relate it to the fabric patterns that you have chosen. So you realize that the bold patterns will dwarf smallish persons and will increase body weight for fat or for flat person. So if you have a bold patterns that are bigger patterns or motifs inside the fabric, and you are showing it for an individual, it will rather bring the person down. And if you are also using it to show somebody with a body weight and others, it will not also help you. So choose very well. Somebody who has a smallish body and at the same time the person is very slim. When you are choosing a bold colors for that person, it is appropriate because it will increase the weight and then enlarge the person. And somebody who also has a body weight already, and you want to use the same particular design for that person, it will even make the person's situation worse. So you go for designs that are appropriate and fit that person very well. Lines may also be used to reduce or increase the figure size. So you do the lines and then you are good to go. We have vertical lines, we have diagonal, we have cross, or we have horizontal lines. Each of these things will help you to be able to manage the figure type of yourself or your wearer very well. Then we haven't haven't done selection on the fabric. How do you prepare the fabric for cutting out? How do you prepare the pattern or the fabric for cutting out? Yes, Madam Cecilia Abaka.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Please mute yourself and talk.
Hey, I should meet myself.
No, talk. We can hear you. Talk. Madam Cecilia.
Madam, since you
Hello, sir.
unmute yourself.
I said, sir, I should mute it.
I be- I
But if
beg,
you mute it, can you?
Eh?
if I
Hey,
see
So I
you
want
mute yourself, that it means I don't know
maybe
what
it
I'm
was mistake.
even doing. So forgive me. Unmute yourself.
I unmute and he said I should mute. That is why.
And I said
Maybe
unmute yourself.
So I thought you can hear me even if I'm on. Hey.
hey,
Um, because
awa, awa,
since
awo, aketesia.
I'm chewing meat here.
Then bring us some.
I will not give anybody.
Hey, sir. Hmm.
Yes, Madam Baka, let's go.
Sir,
Yes.
first you have to know the body measurements of the
Okay.
person. Uh-huh.
It's one
Then
of them. factors to consider when preparing fabrics for cutting, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you
Then
need
the
to know
style
what you mean.
and the style.
Okay,
Yes.
Madam Naomi from of Asamfoso, yes, help us. Oh, she's in the church.
Mercy, it's Sunny,
Madam
Sunny,
Mercy,
Sunny.
Okay, let's proceed. So when you look at the fabric very carefully, when they cut it for you, we have something in the fabric we call warp, weft, and bias direction on woven fabrics. When you pick the fabric very carefully and look at it, the yarns that are running vertically, they are what we call the warp yarns. And those on the horizontal, they are what we call the wefts. The bias direction on woven fabrics, for them, for that one, you may not see either the warp or the webbed yarns running very well in the fabric. So when you see that without such a fabric, it means the fabric is as well possessing some characteristics of bias direction on the woven fabrics. This yarn direction determines the form your garment will assume after sewing. So if you don't follow the direction of each one of these, your garment may assume a certain form that you may not like at the end of the day. And the drip and how the fit will be, it will be very difficult for you to determine that because we place and then we cut in line and according to the selvage, that is according to the direction of the green line within the fabric. And so if you violate this principle, it is going to go against you. Therefore, there are certain dimensions or it is very necessary for us to get to correct the grain very well when we buy the fabric to prepare it for cotton. One, we have to straighten the fabric ends. Those at the market, they are just cutting. Sometimes they use the meter ruler and then sometimes some people will not even use the measurement. They use the meter rule without the scissors. They will just cut the fabric tip small. Then they'll use their hand to tear. They are done. So as they are tearing it that way, the ends of the fabric are not on the same selvage or on the same grain line. Therefore, when you come to cut out, you need to straighten the fabric end. So you check the cut edge to see if it is straight and grain edge. If it is not, you remove a yarn that can run through both selvages from the cut edge and cut through each trial to strengthen it very carefully. Once you are done that way, you are just going to use the scissors to cut through the yarn that you have removed. Then the fabric ends will be straightened very well. Then you can now use it for whatever you want to use it for. Two, you need to strengthen the grain. And strengthen the grain, you check if the warp and the wefts are aligned, forming a 90 degrees. If not, you need to manipulate by stretching the edges that are short on the diagonal all through the fabric length till they are aligned. And what you need to do is that when I say you stretching edges that are short, so you let somebody hold the other end, you also hold the other end, then you straighten it if it is something that stretches. If it is you alone, just crumple it inside your hand, hold one side and hold one side, and try to straighten it to see if the warp and the warp joints are going to align, forming the 90 degrees for you to be able to do so. Three, then you need to also check shrinking. Shrinking. The shrinking here has to do with you prevent the loss of dimensions after construction. So you pre-shrink the fabric that shrinks before cutting. So you agree with me that there are some denim, that is the jeans materials. When you sew them, when you buy them, they are in good shape, good dimensions, all right. But the moment you use it to construct something and you wash it and dry it, the length of it will reduce. Have you noticed it that way? The length of it will reduce. It will now be hanging on the individual. And at the same time, the hem of it now will start rolling up. It will start rolling up. And it will not be in a good shape anymore. So when you realize such a material or such a fabric, when you buy them, you need to do something we call pre-shrinking. And the pre-shrinking, what you need to do is you first of all try to see whether you can wash it and dry it to see the effect of it. So when you do that, you iron it very carefully and let it lie down for some time to see the kind of dimension or effect it will take before you now do any other thing on it. Then after that, you'll have to remove of creases. Removal of creases. Here, you remove all unwanted folds and creases or creases by ironing the fabric before you lay out and cutting it out. And if you do that, it is part of the preparation of fabric for cutting out for your design to be beautiful and nice for you. Now you have finished preparing it out. You are now coming to lay it on the table and cut out. And when you are laying it on the table, what do you look out for? How and what measures do you follow for the layout, the cutting out, and the marking of each of the things that you are looking out for in the fabric to be okay? So you realize that layout is very important because if you do, whether it is on the table or floor or whatever surface you are planning to cut out, you need to lay out. And the layout is about how you place the fabric and arrange the patterns on the fabric for cutting. You need to take note of that. When we say talk of layout, it's all about how you place the fabric, how you arrange the motifs on the fabric for cutting out. It's basically the meaning of layout. And now, when you are laying out, the first thing you need to do is to use a large smooth table. If the fabric yards are plenty and you lay it on the table and some will still be lying on the floor, then you need to get a chair closer to the table and put the rest of the fabric on the chair to be resting rather than you allowing the rest of the fabric to be on the floor. So you use a large smooth table. Another thing you need to also look out for is you fold the fabric into two, and all of it will happen at the wrong side to facilitate the marking because some people they cannot use their eyes to gauge what exactly they should be doing on the fabric. So unless they mark. So once you cut out on the wrong side, the marking of it will be able to facilitate it and lay on the table very well. So when you do that now, it will prevent extra fabric from hanging as it will stretch the lay fabric. And so if you don't want the extra fabric that is hanging to disturb the one that you have laid on the table already, then you need to take care of it somewhere. You also need to consider the motifs or the patterns in the fabric to determine the suitable layout. So, are the things going to be upside down? No. How do you want it? You decide how you want to arrange the motifs or the patterns in it. Do you want to arrange them vertically or horizontal? It's up to you to do so. So one way for snap and directional fabrics, or you single layer for asymmetrical design and double layer for symmetrical design. So you will understand that when you prepare the patterns for asymmetrical design, what you need to do is that if you are laying patterns for asymmetrical design and there are motifs or designs in the fabric, you have to lay the fabrics on the you have to lay the patterns on the fabrics, or you lay the fabric on the floor and cut down and cut out the asymmetrical design one after the other, single layer of the fabric, because you cannot fold the motifs to cut them out. It will distract you. And if you are dealing with a symmetrical design, then there is a need for you to pull the fabric layer doubled to cut out. Take note of it. And you need to also use sufficient sharp pins, not too close or much apart. So when you are pinning the fabric or the pattern onto the fabric, or you are pinning the fabric down on the table so that air will not disturb you when cutting out. There should not be too much pins on the pattern. There should not also be, if there are patterns on if there are pins on the pattern, the pins should not be closer to each other and they should not be far apart to each other. The pins must be sharp and you pin within seam allowances without crossing cutting line. Take note of it. And all the pins that you have put on the pattern or on the fabric, they should all follow one direction. Good. Now you have finished laying out everything on the table. How do you cut out? So using dressmaker shears, having long sharp blades for smooth, sharp cutting edges. You need to decide if whether you are using small scissors or the bigger scissors, depending on your hand. If you are using the small scissors should not necessarily be pattern cutting scissors. No, it can be a fabric cutting scissors, but small. So you handle the scissors. Mm. So you handle the scissors that you can easily manipulate and easily convenient handle. Then when you are move around the table to prevent shifting and cutting. So in doing so, you have to use a long strokes at the straight edges and short strokes for the curved areas within the pattern. Or when you if you are using freehand cutting and you draw the design on the fabric, then you need to still use the same method. Place your free hand, the other hand on the layout, and stabilize the fabric while cutting out. You need to also bear in mind that you should not lift the fabric off the table or cutting surface while cutting. It is a wrong practice. You put your hand on it and not to lift it up while cutting out. It is wrong. You need to cut out the notches very well. You need to also cut with the grain. The grain is very important. If you don't cut with the grain, I told you that it will affect the fitting of your garment on you. Then marking. Oh, I'm feeling simple. Then marking. You take your time as beginners and transfer all the appropriate marks onto the fabric to guide sewing. So we have that, we have pleat, we have tags, matching circles, pocket placements, thin lines may be marked. So all these things are necessary to be transferred onto the fabric so that things will go very well for you people. You may use any of these methods if you want. You can you can use carbon paper. You can also use a tracing wheel. You can also use tracing tacks. You can also use stainless marks. You can also use you can also use pin marking. You use pins to hold them very well. But how can pins be used to indicate that and place positions within the fabric? So your method selected depends on the fabric, depends on your skills, and also depends on the construction situation that you found yourself. So take note. You don't go and start using tailored carbon and tracing wheel when your fabric are not require that, when your skills are not up to that, and when your construction situations are not up to that. You only use a carbon and a tracing wheel when you realize the fabric is clean, and that when you do that now the marks, the carbon paper will actually indicate the marks on the thing very well. But here is the case: you are using a multi-tier fabric or a designer fabric and you want to use tailored carbon and tracing wheel to do that. How will it help you? How will you see the tracing of the tracing wheel on you? So you realize that at that situation, it the method does not suit the construction situation. You take note. On this note, we are done with unit one. And what you need to do is that you go, you check your dresses or you go to the market. And when you go to the market, choosing appropriate fabric is the first step towards marking, towards making a good garment. Choosing an appropriate fabric is the first thing that an individual should take when making a good garment to set its purpose. So you realize that there are several factors that need to be considered. Factors like figure, the sex, the occasion, and others in the selection of fabric for a project or a garment. So the fabric needs to be in a perfect state to give a good hang. It also needs to be in a good state or to give a good fit. Therefore, it must be well aligned in its structure as far as the yarn and others are concerned. And it should also be depends or it also demands conscious preparation. So when you are making a garment, you give all yourself to the garment so that people will end up by saying, wow, the garment actually works it. So checking the patterns and cutting accordingly will bring the principles of designing into play. Other than that, you will just be designing without following any principle at all. So one needs to be guided in assessing by making or in assessing or in assembling by marking accordingly. You have come when it happened that like that, then you know that you have come to establish a good protocol for your sewing, even though you are yet to start. So you need to ask yourself, what is your figure type? Do you know your figure type? Get to understand your figure type very well before you select the fabric for yourself. Which fabric type do you like most? So choose the fabric that you like most. And let me explain, let me understand why, considering some of the factors that we have discussed or outlined. How does the fabric type you like fit into the context that we talked about, and how will it help you? What makes what you are wearing now fit for its purpose? Let me know what you are coming to show makes it fit for the purpose that you are choosing it for it to be served. Any question? On this note, we have done justice to Unit 1. Any question?
Sir, please. The garment that we are going to sew, are we going to use our own body measurements or others?
Yes, you are going to use your own body measurement. You are saying for yourself.
Okay. And second, when we submit the finished product, will they be returned or they will keep it?
When you submit the finished product for UCC Center, you may even get yours the following week.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but other centers, you may get it. You may get it in the next block when when people are going to the various center. Then they will transport it back again.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then, sir, the cabana slit, it means that you are going to choose your own style.
Yes, that is what I said earlier. I said you should choose your own style,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then
As
make
well
make
as the Bastia.
yes.
So the
But
Bastia too should be
you
slit and cap.
are doing one garment.
The Bastia is the garment, the straight one.
The Basia is the evening one.
Even okay, even way.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No. Any question? Please ask questions about Unit 1, and let's clarify things, and we'll move on.
Sir,
Yes, Madam Sini.
please say the construction aspects about the dress.
Well,
Are we going
you have not eaten
to
jollof this morning, but your
say it's
voice is.
fufu?
Hey, fufu that you ate.
Eh.
Oh, then you are missing a lot. Thank you.
Sir,
Enyo.
please, it's about our own how to sew. No? Are we
Yes,
going to that day? Are we going to cut it at the where the lab, or we are going to cut it in our home, then bring it and sew?
yes, yes. So usually those of you who can do so, I allow you to cut it at your own convenience and bring it for me to inspect it. But before you cut it at your own convenience, I have to check the stars and understand the elements or the design details that you are putting inside. Then you need to practically show to me how you are going to cut it out. Then I can allow you to go and cut it or assist those who don't know anything at all about cutting.
Yes, sir.
You understand? Uh-huh.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other? Yes, Madam Ruth. Yes,
Hello,
you're not
sir.
in the top.
Good morning.
Morning. Uh-huh.
Sir, me
This is
have
the
not raised my hand though.
eh?
I didn't raise up my hand.
Yes, you do not raise your hand, but talk.
Hmm. Sir, so next week are we coming with our sewing machine?
Next week you are coming with your public for us
Wait,
to cut out. Okay.
sir, please, I didn't hear that part well.
I'm saying, depending on how far we have gone with this discussion, if we are able to, if we are able to cover March, the next week you come along with your public and your machine. So
Madam, yourself.
the moment we cut out, then we sew. Other than that, next week you come along with your fabrics for us to look at check the fabrics and see how suitable the fabrics will be, and then we prepare the fabrics. Then we cut out. Then we decide what and what do you need to sew before you now go and get those things from the market. Then we sew it the following week. Okay,
Hello, sir.
you understand?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, sir.
Sir, please, so the fabric, in case we are coming with it, are you coming with the fabric you use to sew your final work or any
The,
other?
the fabric that you are not so you come with two fabrics for us to choose which one will be best for you.
Okay. Thank you.
But if you know your whereabout, you can just come along with your one fabric. But make sure it is something that you like and something that you can easily understand, and it also fits into the context of what we are doing.
So, sir,
Yes,
the fabric that she's talking of, are you? Will you bring along with your distance, your style?
yes, you come along with your style.
Okay, okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Madam Sandra. I was looking for you.
Sir, my network, I couldn't join again. I
Oh yeah,
joined first and you were not on, and
oh
the
yeah.
network,
It
mm,
is the Mama doing.
it is.
It is NDC people doing. Yes, let's go.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, how many years are we bringing?
Well, you are showing cover and slate. I can't determine for you.
Please depend
Okay.
on your body.
That's why we are.
Um, okay, I don't know the style. That's
You
why
can,
I'm
you can
asking.
bring
I
10
don't
years.
know.
You can bring 10
Hey,
years. We can share it among you and I.
so me 2 years of crowd can so slate and cover for me.
I mean, don't bring that in.
Okay.
Lorna.
I heard something about evening wear too.
Uh-huh.
Should you bring the material for that one too next
Are
week,
you
or you
going?
are doing the slate
Are you going
first?
to sew evening wear?
No, I heard something like that. Someone was asking about.
No.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
sewing one garment, but the garments are two. If it is regular student, they sew two garments. Evening wear,
Okay.
kaba and sleeve. By your case,
Um,
you presented the two so that you choose one garment.
okay.
Uh-huh. So if you
So you
choose
can
the
either choose the slate and cover or the evening wear.
exactly, and so if you
Okay.
choose the cover and sleeve, at the end of the day,
Mm.
you need to prepare a pattern for the evening wear for us to see if you were to sew the evening wear, how were you going to handle it?
Ah, okay.
Yes. So you come along with your evening wear design and your cover and sleeve design. So that we prepare patterns for the evening wear and then help you cut out the cover and sleeve. Or
Okay.
you prepare patterns for the evening wear and use it again to sew. These are the two options for yourself.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, Lord. Madam Lorna,
Sir,
what happened at your place?
sir, I'm
No,
okay. I'm with you.
uh,
Sir,
okay. Yes, my aunt
sir,
is here. Yes.
please, I want to ask your opinion on
Okay.
the government sewing.
Okay.
Which one will be easier for us? The Kabayan slate and the Bastia.
To tell you my honest opinion,
Mm-hmm.
they are all going to be involving based on the construction style we are going to choose.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to in terms of spending, in terms of spending on each one of them, for the Kabayan slave, you can just sew it like that with your own desired style without having to spend much on accessories. But when you sew even where you need to buy some accessories to attach to it or some kind of you understand what I mean. You buy accessories like maybe flowers or trimmings. You buy trimmings or notions and then you put it on a bastia just for it to just to beautify the outlook of it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But for Kabbalism, you can just sew it straight like that and then you move on. It also
Mm.
depends on where and how you want to be wearing it.
Okay. So I'm
Because
thinking of
you,
examination fee. Since they said
yes,
it's going to be used as an assessment, and
yes,
we the
all of
beginners,
it, all
some of
all
us
of
are
it.
not into sewing already. So that is why I'm thinking of what to do to make it easier for me to construct it.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
then you go for the Kabbalism.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other? We are done with unit one. Then let's move to unit two. When is the break? When are we going for break?
Honorable leader,
Majority leader, where are you?
Sir, please, I'm here.
When is the break?
Please, let me check again on the show.
Me, I'm hungry.
Sorry.
So then let's
Sorry.
break. It's not my fault.
I
Let's
think it
break
will be
so that
9
we
o'clock
give our
here.
friends
So
some
that
time.
we're going to end.
Eben,
Let's
let's
break
break
it
at time.
then.
10 minutes. 10 minutes break.
Break for them.
Yes, I'll come to
Guys,
my
your boss ready.
Hey, time was one.
Nobody
All
should
the
talk
month
about
that
your
is
issue here.
the month of December.
What's it?
Nobody should talk about here.
What's it?
Messi, or upon 11. I say a comedy, never so monkey December.
Uncle Jim Brandon.
Uncle December, that will or comedy way.
Hey, Mercy, say let's break. Mercy.
Madam, Madam, Messi, are you having problem with my answer?
You matter,
So don't
you
mind her.
matter.
She has finished eating fufu.
And
So
now
break.
you are hungry.
Hey, Madam Messi, it's me. Oh.
So please, what time are we coming back?
We'll come back 9:10.
9:10.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
The 9 up.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good morning. The network is now okay. So I've joined.
Madam Becky, to my journey.
Since me share na me so me try you be on share. Me share na network na. No no no. Hi. That's why I said me no ra.
Why are you need to one area?
Oh. Mumwe ko South Land share was my am to Mumwe.
I'm also how to your friend they say. Mark Nakato, one number two.
Oh, okay. Ko boya share.
All right. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the let's go. Welcome back from commercial break. Okay. Let's go to Unit 2. Unit 2, we'll be looking at underlining fabrics and garment suppliers. Basically, when we talk of underlining garments, we are looking at, apart from the fabric, are there any other things that are supposed to be part of the garment to make the part of the fabric to make the garment beautifully and standing? Are there other things like that? That is what we will be looking at. So the underlining fabrics that we are talking about here, we are talking about interfacing. We are talking about lining. We are talking about underlining. We are talking about interlining. Take note of these two concepts. We have interfacing, we have lining, we have underlining, we have interlining. These are what we call underlining fabrics. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when we talk about underlining fabrics itself is basically about what the garment is made up of, multiple layers of fabric. That is basically the meaning of underlining fabrics. So the main fabric, the outer fabric, which shows or when garment is worn, is called the fashion fabric or the shell. I am saying that the main fabric that everybody is looking at, the outer fabric which shows when a garment is worn, is called the fashion fabric or the shell. Beneath this fabric or under this fabric, which shows or is exposed, are other fabrics that are part of the garment, but they are hidden. So they are collectively called undergarments. They are collectively called undergarments. So undergarments or under fabrics, sometimes they are known to be a support fabrics. They are support fabrics because they are usually found inside the garment and generally offer support to the garment by way of helping to maintain shape, harden body, stiffening the body, stabilizing the parts of the garment, strengthening the parts, neatening the areas of the garment, giving warmth to the body, and at the same time outlining some areas and reinforcing the stress areas for you. That is what basically the underlining garments are inside the garment to do. I said one, they are helping in maintaining the shape of the garment. Two, they are also adding to the body of the garment. That means basically they add body to it. Two, they help in terms of stiffening the body. They help to, main, to bring out the shape and the standardized shape of the body. Four, they also help to stabilize the parts that would have been dangling or swaying around when an individual is walking. Five, they also help to strengthening the parts of the body. Six, they help in neatening the areas of the garment that you are working with. And they also give warmth to the body. They also outline some areas and reinforcing the stress areas of the garment. These are the main reasons why we sometimes put in the support fabrics inside the garment. You realize that specific underlining fabrics may be used for different support purposes, depending on the individual construction methodology. Now, when we look at the facing, for example, facing, we all know what facing is. It is a lightweight fabric. Usually, it's hidden between the garment and its facings, and it gives body. It also helps to give shape. It also reinforcing you. It also brings reinforcement to the limited areas of the garment, and this is what we call interfacing. Interfacing, in a layman understanding, you have a garment where the neckline is. You cut a facing for the garment. Now you don't want to use the facing like that, so you cut a stiff or fabric interfacing. Then you interface the facing very well before you now attach it to the garment neckline and turn it inside. So now the stiff or the canvas that you apply on the facing now, it is now going to be between the facing and the garment itself. And when it's happening like that, it is what we call interfacing. So it is applied between the facing or other areas, outer fabric of the garment. That is what we call interfacing. Now, when we look at interfacing fabric types, interfacing could be stiff, and the stiff also comes in different categories. We have the hard stiff, we have the soft stiff, we also have the medium stiff, we also have the very lightweight stiff. Apart from that, we also have a fabric interfacing itself. We have canvas, we have color, we have hermit. Now, what I'm trying to say is that it has been put into three groups. One, we have woven and non-woven interfacing. That is the knitted and the bounded one. With these ones, it can either be sewn in, that is, it is a non-feasible one, or iron on. So there are some interfacing that you need to apply heat on it. Some, it doesn't require heat. You only need to sew them onto the garment. Then it serves as an interfacing. Some you need to use either a resin or because of the gum or the resin nature of it in it now. When you apply iron on it, it will become fusible inside. So sometimes they are made of textile fiber or paper. So when you see any one of them, they are all applicable. But Using each one of them depends on the type of fabric you are using, depends on the type on the area you are applying them onto, and three, they are also depends on the purpose they are there to serve as well. They come in different ways. As I said, we have light, we have medium, we have heavy, and we also have other things that you can think of. So the non-waving interfacing, which we call a bounded ion-on or fusible interfacing. When you apply them, it gives you a firm but soft base and can be light. It can also be medium, it can also be heavyweight, depending on what you want to do with it. So the lightweight interfacing, it is the best used for cottons material, wool materials, and polyester materials. Then we also have medium weight, which is also the best for light to medium weight crisp cotton material and a cotton blend materials as well. So when you get to the market and then you say you are looking for fabric interfacing, it comes in different colors as well. So when you pick a fabric interfacing, the one that we usually apply onto the coat, suit, no, they comes in different size, different colors, black, white, and others. So if you are dealing with a cream or white material fabric, and you go and choose black, when you interfuse it, it will be showing at the right side of the fabric, and which will go against your fabric nature of it and the texture of it as well. So you take note of that. Then sew in interfacing again. It is a firm but soft fabric that can be light to medium or heavy weight material. So it comes in a form of it is in a form of gabardine, wool, and then cotton fabrics. These are the fabrics that it can easily be applied on. It will be very fantastic. Then woven interfacing, we have canvas, hair canvas. The canvas is popular that people normally use for their bastia, their coat, their jacket when they are sewing. That one it is a completeness and a more common woven interfacing that is inside the market today. And so the iron-on cotton interfacing also it is commonly used for backing cotton and woolen fabrics because those things are somehow heavy, and so when you apply them to it, it makes them stabilize the creases nature of it. Now we also have lining as an underlining fabrics. Lining is a separate layer of fabric attached to the inner part of the garment and sewn with seam allowances reversely or reversed. So we all know lining. So I don't need to talk much on that. What you need to know is that lining is also part of the main fabric and it serves a lot of purposes. And usually it comes as an inner part of the garment and sewn with the thin allowances as the main fabric. So the lining being inside the garment provides a finished inside appearance. When you decide to use a round method and you are using lining, it will finish inside appearance very neat for you. Somebody can easily turn the inside one as the outer one. Somebody can also turn the inside one as well. And what it also keep the garment shape and facilitate the whole putting on and taking off the garment with ease. When there is a lining inside your garment, when you are taking it off on your body, because the lining is somehow slippery and also very difficult to stack or to stick onto your body, it is very easy to be able to take it on and be able to put it on with ease. But fabrics that are printed and materials, when a guy wears it and did not wear a singlet, and the person sweats, it becomes so, it will stick onto the body of the person. So when the person is trying to remove it, it doesn't actually slip on the body of that person easily, and so it becomes difficult to take it off and put it on again as well. Lining inside garment also help to hide raw edges and internal seams, and also it helps to hide the darts that are provided inside the jacket. Take note of that. Lining also provides a slippery surface which makes clothes easier to get on and off and more comfortable to wear. So when you sweat, by the time the sweat gets to the main garment, the linen has already absorbed most of them. So lining inside garment could also make full length or you make it short, depending on you. You can make it short by letting it hanging inside the garment, or you let it be at the same length as the main garment. And it can also be attached with hem hanging or joined to fully concealed. Hem hanging means that at the end of the day, when you want it to be hanging, you just do an overlock to it or knitting or a serging around the edges of the hem and allow it to be hanging. Or you want to join fully concealed, then you need to treat it as part of the hem of the main garment and you are good to go. Linen fabric types. What are the fabrics that we need to consider that are very necessary to be used as linen? Because some of us, we only know linen to be polyester. Polyester. When you ask me to mention another type of fabric that can be used as linen, I will not be able to tell you. So linen fabrics usually have a silky surface and are generally made from silk, polyester, viscose, acetate, or rayon fabrics. So when you are choosing a linen fabric, as an individual, you need to make sure that the washing aspect of it, the care requirements are compatible with the garment fabric. So if you have a viscose, no, let me just say, if you have a rayon fabric, and you know very well that rayon somehow relates to the relates to natural fabrics. And you know cotton or calico is one of them. And then you go and use poly nylon or silk lining to come to have a working relationship with the cotton material or cotton fabric. You know it is not going to be possible. You know that. And so in the first place, how you are going to be caring for the nylon lining, it is not the same caring that you can be given to the cotton fabrics. And since they are the same, you cannot unpick the lining separate, finish treating the main fabric and send it back to the tailor to join it back again, or to for you yourself to join it back again. It is impossible. So you choose a lining that has the same care requirements as compatible with with the garment fabric, and you're good to go. So when you look at acetate like this, it comes in lightweight. It also has a soft synthetic fabric which drifts very well and has a shiny, luxurious surfaces. And it also tends to dry clean only. So such a material that use dry clean only, and you want to use the lining of it for cotton, do you think you can wash it? No, because cotton materials, when when it get dirty, unless you wash it, if you want to do dry cleaning, It will never attach to you. So we also have Habotai silk, also called the China silk. It comes in the form of plain waves, glossy silk fabrics with a soft handle. This one, it can either be washed or do dry clean as well. So when you are choosing this type of lining for your fabric, you know the type of fabric that you can easily align with this kind of lining for it to go. We also have polyester lining itself, and then this one, it comes in different sizes and in different structures. So we have a lightweight, we have soft plain, we have um, synthetic fabric, which is often made in the style of Habutai silk. It also has a shining surface and it breathes well. With this one, it can easily be machine washed, or you use your hand gently and wash them without distracting or damaging the lining. Quite apart from lining, we will also have something we call underlining. Underlining simply means a lightweight fabric cut to duplicate a garment section. A lightweight fabric cut to duplicate a garment section. That is what it means by underlining. Who can give me an example of underline? So it is applied to the wrong side of the garment fabric and handled as one ply during construction when you cut it for this. It is stitched to the inside of the garment to stop the dust and seams from showing on the right side of the sheen fabric, something that is transparent, or fabrics to add support to a loosely woven fabrics. For example, one would take bias cotton or cotton bias. It is one example of underlining. You are sewing and you decide to use uh, flat method, but you don't want the seam allowances to be showing. So you decide to use the cotton bias to pipe it or to sew it in a way that it will be able to conceal the dust or the seam allowances that are showing over there. Then it will go well for you. So underliner fabric provides more body and opacity for us. It will decorate the pattern fabric further through complementing color of main fabric. And so when you are cutting it for every pattern pieces separately, then you attach it to the wrong side of the outer fabric so that the complementary aspect of it will be showing at the right side of this. Now the underlying fabric types, you will understand that there are no specific underlying fabrics as it really depends on what is suitable for the garment you are making or not. So let me just say that universally underlining should be soft and it should also be light so as not to interfere with the drip of the garment that you are sewing. Because dripping of the garment is so important that when you finish, it should be able to flow the shape of the wearer or the flow of you very well. So if you are backing a lace fabric, then satin, the crepe, the chain, or a linen fabric are all good choices. And the linen fabric simple can also mean that, for example, you are working with a lightweight fabric, and it is your main fabric. But since it is light, you want to get another fabric that will support it so that it will look somehow heavy, and at the same time, the way it is transparent, you don't like it that way. So you want a way that you can reduce the transparent or aspect of it so that it become the opacity. But that kind of fabric that you are letting it go with the main fabric, it's not as the lining. No, the structure goes beyond the lining. So you go for satin. So it's, the main fabric type that you can use to go with this type of underliner fabric is lace. When you are sewing a lace, you know lace fabric is very transparent. There are a lot of holes in it, and you understand that when you use the normal lining for that, it will not actually look beautiful, because once you wash it once or twice, the creases nature of the lining will affect the lining fabric, of which the lining does not actually have, like the lace fabric does not have creases so much. So what you need to do is that you need to go for satin fabric. So satin fabric will serve as an under, it will serve as a lining fabric. And at that instant, even though everybody know that you are using satin to line the lace fabric, but in that context, it is no more lining. It is called an underlining, because the essence and the purpose of it over there goes beyond lining. That means you are using another set of the main fashion fabric to support the main fashion fabric. Because satin fabric like this, without any fabric assisting it, it can sew a garment and wear beautifully. But lining, as we will all know lining, you can never use lining and sew a garment and walking around and feel happy. And for even to get a comment from people, it can never happen. So when you use a fashion fabric as lining to support another fashion fabric, that fashion fabric serving as lining becomes or is called underlining fabric. And such fabric types are what I just mentioned. They are satin, they are crepe, the chain, they are also you can also use certain type of silk fabrics for that, depending on what you actually want to do. And you need to remember that or bear in mind that if it will show, then it should be a fashion fabric that should be showing. And that one is only helping with the color nature of it and the texture of it to complement the main fabric outfit and the surface. We also have something we call interlining. Interlining. When we talk of interlining, a separate layer of soft, fluffy fabric that is inserted between the lining and the lining is what we call an interlining. For example, you you
So please, we can't hear you.
want to sew
Please, can you come again?
what I can use for an example.
So please, can you repeat yourself? The network.
Example, good. You see the I am saying I'm saying we have another concept we call interlining. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Good. And I said an interlining fabric or interlining is a separate layer of soft, fluffy fabric that is inserted between the inside of the garment and first of
Hello.
all, we have the main fashion fabric. We bring the interfacing as We bring the interfacing, we interface the entire fashion fabric. Then the lining itself now comes as taffeta fabric. So between the taffeta fabric and then the main fashion fabric, we normally put something inside. One, we normally put something we call padding, shoulder pad, sleeve headers, and we also put chest pad on them. These are what we call interlining fabrics. Let's take bustier like this or corset. When we are sewing corset, the main fashion fabric is there. The lining too is also there. Then if you are using canvas or stiff, you use the stiff to stiffen the bustier nature of it so that the shape will come. Aside that, if you want to put a, a brazier cap inside, you bring it. So the brazier cap and other things that you bring it to make it stand out very nice, beautifully, becomes an interlining. So the brazier cap is between the fashion fabric and the lining itself. That means it is a support or it's something that you inserted between the inside of the garment and as well as the lining to support it and bring out the shape and the nature of it, and also help to add warmth to the garment itself. Are we there? So such ones are what we call interlining fabrics. So you have been hearing people saying warden, you have been hearing people saying shoulder pad, chest pad, sleeve header, and all that. They are interlining. They are just there to help us to be able to have a complete understanding of what we are doing. Then we have other garment enhancement suppliers. Apart from the underlining fabric, other suppliers are used to further enhance the shape or the look of garments. We have bones that are made of metals or plastics are used to hold shapes and provide firmness to areas. We also have horsehair. It is a woven tape of different sizes which may be used at hems and other edges to hold edge shape and bring it very well. Example of it is the wedding gown. Some people, when they want to sew the flare nature at the wedding gowns, they use the horsehair to let it have a circularity nature of it. Then we also have a Petersham. It's used to stiffening bands. When we are sewing men's trousers, when we are sewing a band for skirt, we use a Petersham. And the Petersham is when you see it there, it comes in a form of commercial, soft and hard. You see some fashion designs, stylish nature in it. So when you fix it on a trouser, it makes the trouser beautifully. It also stiffens the trouser and make the trouser very nice. Nylon can be used. Nylon line can be used to create a curly lettuce edge when inserted into overlock finish edge. And so when you do, some people think that when you are sewing a garment and at the end of the day you do an overlock at the hem of the garment, you all you need to do is to leave it hanging. No, you can also do an overlock and turn a layer of it and put a nylon line in it just to create a curly lettuce edge over there for the garment to stand very beautifully. We also have shoulder and breast padding. It helps to outline the shoulder and also shape and increase the bulk at bust area respectively. So all these things are other garment enhancement suppliers that we need to get to know and understand and be using them in our garment constructions for it to help and beautify our things very well. So when you want to decorate your garments, you need to use a decorative trim for that. And when you use trimmings on your garment, it helps in when it comes to the embellishment. It helps to sparkle or the texture of the garment. It helps for it to enhance the beauty and the outfit of you, the wearer, very well. And then the decorative trim that an individual can be used on the garment to make the embellishment, the sparkle or the texture to the garment of it to come out is that when you finish making your garment, those of you who be sewing the back here, you can add beads. You can put the beads on the breast, on the back area, or around the waist area, the waistline. You can also put fringes on it to look very beautifully. You can also add embroidery, applique, lace trims of all sizes. You can also put sequins. You can also put rhinestones on it, just for it to look beautifully and add the aesthetic nature of it to it. So all these that I've mentioned, you can apply them to the garment using glue or a hand or machine stitches or heat. You can also use an iron to on them so that it will be stick onto the garment, depending on the type of trim being applied. So when you are applying those things, you get to understand them and you know what to do. So basically, the unit we just discussed has helped us to outline the various underlying fabrics that we use to support garments. They are also used for the purpose of giving strength. They also reinforce areas, they stiffening the area, they neatening the garment inside out, or they help to enhance the outer look of the garment. So all the support garment fabric that we talk about has specific purpose in the garment that we need to know, that we need to also understand and know how applicable each one of them is. And since different underlying fabrics are also used for specific purposes, they have to be chosen appropriately so that it will not go against or counterattack the unit one issues that we have talked about. Because if the unit one principles are not in line with the unit one, if unit two principles are not in line with unit one principle, then there is a problem somewhere. So you get to understand what you are doing, get to understand the fabric you are using, and that will also go away to inform you the kind of underlying fabrics to choose for your fabric. So there are several other suppliers that are also enhance the looks of garments and they may be applied when needed. Okay, so here what you need to do is that you need to ask yourself which garment parts will require application of interfacing. Which garment parts will require application of interfacing? If you ask yourself this question and you are able to answer, then applying underlining or interfacing or lining will be easier for you. Then you ask yourself again, how am I going to identify the purpose the interfacing will be playing at each of the parts that I apply them to? Then you follow it up with a follow-up question. Which occasion or time will require garments that may use stones as embellishment? Which garment will require and which occasion or time will require garment that may use stones or fringes as embellishment. You need to have knowledge and you need to communicate yourself with the garment in and out to be able to establish yourself as far as the protocol is concerned. On that note, we are done with unit 2. Any questions? Any questions? Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Yeah, I invite questions. You are not minding me.
Sir, no question.
So we are still thinking.
Madam,
Yes, sir.
any question?
So we are taking over it.
It's like, Madam Messi, you don't like face-to-face class, but you like online class.
Say, say why?
Hi, because face-to-face you don't contribute. Online you contribute. Let's go, Madam Beatrice. You are online now. Oh, she's taking her lunch. Okay. Madam Gifty,
Yes, sir.
all the way from Mapam. Let me hear from you.
Yes,
Upon
sir,
headmistress.
please. Sir, please, in the short form, the interlining. It is what
Okay.
we
Madam
put
Ruth.
between the lining and the fabric.
Madam Ruth.
Madam Lee,
Hello. Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes,
My
we are
hand is
hearing
up,
you.
but I'm who is talking. That's why I'm quiet.
Yes, talk. Talk. I'm saying talk.
Okay, sir, please. In the first, I'm talking. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, sir, please. After the first unit, we asked about the fabric, and you told us we can bring it next week. So I want to know, are we to add the lining or whatever, the underlining or the lining to it?
No, no.
Madam,
At the end of the class, we'll talk about all those.
please,
If you are
you are finished. Mute yourself for us.
if we are able to cover much, then we can come along with everything.
Madam B, please mute yourself.
Any other question?
Hello, sir,
Any
please, we
other
can't hear you.
question? Three. Is there any question?
No, sir.
Okay,
Sir,
then
not
let's move
now.
to the third.
Sir, please, you said after we finish, so when we are done, I ask the question.
Unit 3, we'll be talking about pattern selection, adjustments, and adaptations. All right. So I expect you at the end of the unit to adapt patterns to fit different body shapes, postures, and preferences. I expect you to break down and interpret the key components of a pattern, including the green lines, the notches, and seam allowances. I also expect you to assess the fit of a pattern on a dress form or a live model and identify areas needing alteration and apply common adjustment techniques such as the lengthening and shortening, taking in and out seam, and adjusting that and guarded. This is what you are expected to know and to do at the end of the unit. So we have something we call pattern alteration, and we have something we call pattern adaptation. Pattern alteration has to do with the selection and adjustment of patterns for figure variations. That is the pattern alteration. Hello. Yeah, so
Hi.
I'm
and
listening.
when we talk of adaptation, pattern adaptation has to do with adaptation of patterns for various garment design features. That is the difference. So when we are looking at pattern alteration, we have to establish that human body size differ. Your body size is not the same as my body size. Shapes vary, so it may not be possible to have perfect fit in all patterns for users. So your shape or a pattern may not fit perfectly for you because of your body shape, and it might fit perfectly for another person because of the person body shape. So alterations are done to help adjust patterns to fit individual shape perfectly. That is the essence of the alteration. Taking accurate measurement is the key to perfect fit. If you miss or you make a mistake in the accurate measurement, then I doubt or I am afraid of the fit that you may get. Before venturing into the alteration or the adjustment of patterns for garment construction, all you need to do and what you need to do and have look out for is that at least and at the best way to take the accurate measurement of the body part very well you need to do. So if you don't do that, it might be very difficult for you to understand yourself. So how do you take body measurement? How do you relate the body measurement? How do you convert and interpret the body measurement very well. And when you have body measurements, which design or style demands this type of body measurement? And this type of design that you are showing, what are the body measurement that is required necessarily for that particular design? So the person being measured should stand straight on both feet, some 15 centimeters apart. So when you tell the person artist, attention, artist, then the artist between one leg to another leg should be about 15 centimeters apart. And do we have time to measure and to indicate that from one leg to another, there is 15% apart, 15 centimeters apart from that? So it is better to wear a fitted clothes when measuring the person. You let the person wear a fitted clothes, not too fitted, but not too also loose. But they also, somebody wearing fitted clothes depends on the style and the design that you are coming to show. If the style is a fitted style, then it requires that the person wears a fitted clothes. If it is a loose dress, then it requires that the person should wear something that is not too fitted. It is not also too loose. Then, after taking the measurement of that person, you can now decide to know or to determine. So now that I want the loose, how much loose do you want the dress to be able to fit that person? Then you are good to go. So it will be perfect if you
Hello.
can wear lingerie. Yes, can you hear me? Who is selling hello?
Yes, please, I can hear now. Yes.
So it will be perfect if you can wear lingerie you intend to wear with the final garment while taking the measurement. It will be fine for you. This is especially important for perfectly fitted clothes like a tight gown or fitted blouse or corset. So if you intend to wear or to sew such things, you ask the person to wear a lingerie or you yourself you wear a lingerie because it is too tight. And you're also coming to sew a perfectly fitted clothes, then that person should also wear something like that. Because those the kind of the lingerie that the person is wearing, there is a possibility that before the person wear a tight gown or fitted blouse or corset, the person might have wear a lingerie in the under before wearing those things. That is why, or that is the essence of you asking the person to wear such a garment. So if you plan to wear heels and you are making a long gown, do not forget to wear the heels or a similar one when taking the measurement. You need to know your client, you need to know yourself very well. Then you wouldn't have a problem as far as the fitting and the alteration is concerned. So choose a good and accurate tape measure, a tape measure that will not at the end of the day, at the end of the tip of the tape measure, and there is no problem with it. So the person taking the measurement should be on the right side of the person. Stand at the right side of the person whilst measuring it. They do not say you should stand in front of the person. Oh, they do not also say stand at the left. Stand at the front, at the right side of the person whilst taking the measurement. All circumferences measurement should be taken with the tape measure parallel to the floor and with enough slack in tape to just slide 2 fingers under the tape. So when you do that, you'll be able to adjust it and move the tape measure around the circumference of where you are measuring the person so that a perfect fit can be assumed. Other than that, it will be very difficult for all of us. Then, as professionals as we are, you may take more detailed list of the measurements for an elaborate dress, like your wedding gown but for some other, not all will be necessary. You don't need to take the person neckline measurement. You don't need to take the person bicep measurement. Once you are taking the measurement, you are observing the person figure, you are good to go. But for wedding gown and suits, when you are showing that, you need a more detailed list of the measurement before you can make a very accurate and elaborate dress for that person indeed. So these are all suggested or suggestions that I'm making for your work to be easier. So measurements to be taken for making shirts or tops are very important. You need to look at the bust or the chest area of that person. You need to look at the waist. You need to look at the full length of the blouse or the shirt. You also need to look at the sleeve length. You also look at the arm, the upper arm, the shoulder, the neck, the waistline or the waist length, as well as the back width of the person that you are showing for. So measurements to be taken for making jacket. You also need to take into the consideration if it is men, you check around the neck, you check over the back, you check the chest, you check the natural waist across the shoulder from the back. You also need to check the end of shoulder to the neck. You need to check the back side around. You need to check round elbow. You need to check around the wrist. You also need to check the arm length from shoulder to the wrist. You need to check the center back, that is the neck, the waist, the neck to the wrist. All these things are necessary to be able to sew a suit for a man. You need the belt where referred to as bust separation. You need bust depth. Bust depth in the shoulder, neck to nipple. You put a tape measure on the shoulder or on the neck. You go and let the tape measure touch the person nipple. That is what we call the bust depth. Bust depth. Then you are good to go. So all these measurements are necessary for you. And if you are somebody who is sewing or making a dress, a long dress, please I'm coming. Let me pick a call. Hello? Yes, sir. Fine. Okay. I think about
Okay, yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Let's continue. So if you are going for a dress, the measurements that are needed, you need the bust measurement, you need the waist measurement,
Wow.
you need the hip
Wow.
high, the
Mama,
high hip
mama.
measurement, the hip measurement. You need distance from up
Obi
to
yẹ
the
dede wọ
hip,
home. Sẹ.
you need the armhole, the shoulder length, you need shoulder point, access, you need the height, you need the dress length, you need the width from the knee length, you also need the weight to the hip, then the nerve, the last point. So you need all these measurements to be able to communicate very well. And so when you are taking a measurement for trouser, then you need the full length of the trouser. You need the leg seam measurement of the trouser. You need the waist measurement. You need the seat, that is the hip, and you also need the bottom measure, the seat bottom measure of that individual. Then, so in dealing with this measurement, we have vertical measurements and we have horizontal measurements. The vertical measurements actually they are the measurements that an individual will take while the tape measure is vertically or while the tape measure is horizontal but not going around that particular area. For example, we have the waist length, the body length measurement. We have the waist length measurement, shoulder to shoulder length measurement, and we have the arm length measurement. And when we come to talk about the horizontal measurement, we are simply talking about an area on the body that you will put the tape measure on, and it will go around the fullest part of where you are measuring. That is a horizontal measurement. For example, we have the bust or the chest, we have the waist, we have the hip, we have the neck depth, we have the around arm. All these things are horizontal measurements and vertical measurements. So how do you know that the measurement that I'm taking, it is a good evidence that I may get a good fit when I'm sewing or after sewing? So you need to take note that a well fitting garment should lie smoothly over the body curve. When your garment fits and when your garment fits very well while lying over the body curve smoothly, then it is an evidence that you actually have a good fit. There is an evidence that you have taken an accurate measurement. Secondly, when you realize that the side seams should be perpendicular to the floor, then you have a better fit. Then you have a good fit. Then you have taken an accurate measurement. If you also realize that there should be sufficient ease to allow free movement of body parts and also be comfortable to wear, then there is an evidence of good fit. There is an evidence of good accurate measurement. There is an accurate evidence of well balanced as far as certain things the key you in the garment construction is concerned. Then we cannot talk about pattern alteration without looking at the principle, because everybody has a principle they are working with. Therefore, if we are looking at all these concepts, then we need to know what are the principles that when we violate that principle, it will go against us. And when we follow those principles, it will actually make us understand that this is actually it. That is it. Let's graph it and let's follow it. You will understand that if you make changes within a pattern by slashing and spreading or slashing and lapping, it can actually help you for distraction. So the first principle is that when you want to do a pattern alteration, the first principle of it is that you either make changes within the pattern, and if you are making the changes within the pattern, what is the best way to follow? The best way to follow is to go for the slashing and spreading or slashing and lapping method when you are doing pattern alteration. But if you are doing pattern alteration and then you go for a pivot method, you are violating this principle. The second principle is that if you want to preserve the original green line within the pattern, then you make all slashes and put parallel or perpendicular to the green line. That is the center front line or the center back line, and you will not have a problem. But a situation whereby you want to preserve the original green line within the pattern, you have made all the slashes and all folds, but they are not parallel or perpendicular to the green line, either the center front or the center back. You have violated this principle as well, maintaining the original green line within the garment. You have violated it. The second principle of pattern alteration is that a situation whereby you have darts and you make changes within the tip of the dart and the outside edge, then you still need to maintain that. So basically what this third principle is saying is that when you that there are all you will do there that is that one, you make changes between the tip of the dart and the outside edge of the dart. So that is, if you realize that the dart size and the length of the dart does not correspond to the shape or the body figure of that individual, that is when you temper with the tip and the outside edge of the dart. Either than that, you are going to violate this principle as well. The fourth principle is that if an alteration in length is made along one edge of the pattern, take care to make an identical alteration in the adjoining edge, then everything will be balanced. But if you have done an alteration in length at one edge of the pattern and decide not to take care of the other side of the adjoining edge, you are violating the principle again. For example, you are coming to make an alteration on the length of the pants or the trouser. You have done that to the the inseam leg or length of the inseam, and you fail to do so to the outseam of the length as far as the trouser leg is concerned, you have violated the principle. It will never agree with you. The fifth principle is saying that when you are decreasing or increasing the width of pattern pieces, if only half the pattern, either the half back or the half front, is used, you have to subtract or add only 1/4 of the total adjustment to be made. Then you are good to go. So a layman understanding what this one means is that you pick a skirt block. You want to increase the width of the skirt, either the back or the front skirt, or you want to decrease the length of it. So what you need to do is that if you are decreasing, whilst decreasing need to meet the standard measurement of what you are working with. You need to add only 1/4 of the total adjustment to be made. So, for example, if the total length is around 28 inches, and you want to 28 inches, and you want to shorten the length to about 24, then you divide the 28 inches by 1/4 and decrease it by that. Or you want to increase it. If the length is 26 and you want to increase the length by 58 inches, then the original length of the skirt that you are coming to deal with, you have to divide it by 1/4. Then you add whatever measurement you have to work out the chord, add it to the length that you have. Then increase it or decrease it. Then you are good to go. The other principle is that when the pattern alteration involves slashing and spreading, it is necessary to keep a sheet of paper beneath or stick to it the spread out part so that they will therefore remain in position. That is what we have been doing. So when you need a flare or gathers or tacks on a skirt, you have slashed the width and now you want to spread it. When you are going to spread it, you don't just spread it on a table like that. Get another brown paper, spread everything onto another brown paper, and spread it and trace it out so that the piece that you are using to hold it and the papers will stick to it to the spreading part so that they will therefore remain in position. And you are good to go. Altering the bodies. So when you pick a body like this to alter, what are the areas that you need to alter and what are the areas that is not to be altered? So that means that next week when you are coming for lectures, you come along with your slopers and all your tools and equipment or your apparatus as well as brown paper for us to do the altering the bodies. So we are going to altering for short bodies. We also alter for long bodies. We also alter for low back. Somebody with low back. How do you alter a pattern to suit the low back person? Somebody with somebody with a small back. How do you alter a pattern to suit it? Then we will also look at somebody with small bust and we want to decrease it, decrease the pattern to suit the small bust. How do we do that? Somebody with broader shoulders and we want to alter the pattern or the body to meet and to fit the broader shoulder person. How do we do that? Narrow shoulders, we have to look at all that and we are done. So this task that we are going to do next week, come along with your brown papers, your slopers, the half slopers, and this time around do not come with that pattern book. There is a book for this one that you need to buy. Uh, Last year it was around 55 Ghana. So it may maintain or it may increase to 60 Ghana. So bring your money. We are done with pattern alteration. Any question for all that we have done before I move to pattern adaptation? Any question?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, please, it's about my measurement. You said when you are measuring somebody, like if the person is wearing heel, the person should wear heel before you measure the person. For instance, if I have someone, he's not my this thing, a customer, but he want to sew before, but I don't know her, but I want to measure her for the first time. Am I supposed to tell her to wear heel, or I, a fashion designer, am I supposed to uh, adjust before
Yeah.
measuring her? Maybe if the person want to measure heel, the person went to wear heel, but that person is not wearing heel. Before I'm measuring the person, am I supposed to guess? Am I what inches will I
Depending
add
on
to
what
the?
the person will like to would like to be wearing. For example, if somebody no, you are not supposed to guess. If somebody is going to be wearing kaba and slit with heels all the time, then when you are going
Mm-hmm.
to sew kaba for that person, let the person wear the heels and come. Okay. So when you
Mm-hmm.
measure the length of the slit, then you include the height of the heels in the measurement of the length. So
Before
when
you
the
cut.
person wears the heel and be on top of the heel, the measurement of or the length of the slit will not be hanging on that person. It will sit onto onto the heel very well.
Mm,
Do you get me?
okay.
So your client only wear heels when yes, your client only wear heels for you to take the person measurement. When the person know and the person also say that me to wear the heel before you take the measurement.
Mm.
Do we understand?
Yes, but sir, if the person is not doesn't wear heels regularly, when you go to
Then
a
you don't the person
if
doesn't
if I'm 38, my length my slit length is 38.
need to wear the heel.
Hello. If my slit length is 38, I don't wear heel all the time, and then I add maybe 3 inches to it.
No, add 2 inches to make it 40.
2 inches, okay, okay, okay. So based on the person measurement,
That
then
should
you
be fine.
add 2 inches to it, so that it will be fine.
Depending on the person, yes. And
Okay.
also
Thank you.
depending on the type of hair the person will be. Are you
Okay.
listening?
Yes, sir.
It also depends the type of hair you wear.
Okay.
So let's go to pattern adaptation. Pattern adaptation simply means basic patterns fit the body curves and have no design introduced except the dots which facilitate shaping and accommodation of body curves. So a garment style makes it unique because other details and interests are added that differentiate it from others. So these differences have to be incorporated into the basic block to transform it into the desired style. And so the process of transforming the basic block by
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Madam Gifty.
Hello.
Okwa.
Paper time, my friend, I'll see you joining the network in the Etokoy. And
Ah,
you'll join the back.
okay. Madam Gifty.
Hello.
Me who Benis wo ye page do oka ho a. One e Benis. Ana hu
I
ye.
don't, I'm saying I'm a
Me nyo me
I'm
hu
you.
Benis bi wo live.
I'm saying I'm
Oka
maybe.
ada say.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Sagiti.
Me pato send the network no yeah,
Hello.
stop yeah, why?
Hey.
Yeah, too.
Hello, Naomi.
Oh, I am open.
Naomi.
Yes.
Oh, friend.
Hello, Sagiti.
Yes. Yes.
Now, Kasa, yeah, too, ye.
Me pato. Me sister obe join us in the network.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Sagiti. Second session, I have
Yes,
a time. Second session, I have a time.
me pato say.
Yes, Mrs. Second session, I have a time.
Hello, mama. Me pato. And then you need second session. Yeah, you will need now.
It's throughout.
Ochina.
Otna. And since the year one.
Hey, Ochina, you better in the morning and afternoon.
Oh, okay. Until I up to 4. Wana grandma, wana
Man,
nana,
what Tuesday have a time?
nana why then? Nana why then?
I can see me with your whole life.
Me say, and they were up to 4 o'clock.
If I saw that you have to let
Okay. You.
And the love and your point, that's a no, no.
I don't know. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Maybe you know pay gwa.
Gift on mute,
Dan you pay not saying what no be on sala.
You see, Madam Cecilia, on me to home. Okay, say yeti. Eh, umwazi wohwa. Umwazi wohwa.
Hello. So sorry about the network. Yeah, can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Are you guys there?
Yes, please, we are there.
All right. So I was in the process of transforming the big model is what we call adaptation. Now, in dealing with pattern adaptation, yes, in dealing with pattern adaptation, it also has certain principles that we need to abide by. And one of it is that if a design is asymmetrical, that is not the same at both left and right, you will need the full block instead of the working with the half block. That is the first principle. If a design is asymmetrical, that is not the same at both left and right sides, you will need a full block instead of working with half block. This is adaptation. Principle 2 is saying that if you are working with symmetrical designs, same at left and right, you can have the adaptations done on both of the front bodies or the skirt block and cut on full for the full bodies, and nothing will happen to it. The third principle is saying that sleeve is always in full block because the front armhole curve is more than the back armhole curve. Therefore, when you are working with sleeves, you need to be mindful, you need to be careful with this principle in a way that no matter how form it is always in full block because the front armhole curve is always bigger and more than the back one. And if there is a dart in the area you are introducing the design line hole, the dart please hold on, I'm coming. Hello, sir. Yes. Get it for us. Okay, let me look at it. So if there is a hole, if there is a dart in the area you are introducing the design line hole, before the dart, then you need to draw in the design line in the dart before you can introduce that kind of design line hole over there. The fourth one is that if you want to introduce fullness in an area, you must determine the amount of fullness to be added to help you spread equally to get exactly that. Other than that, if you don't do that, it will be very difficult for you to determine what to do and what not to do. Then when we meet, we shall look at we shall adapt our skirt basic half scale blocks to empilot. And then we get to understand that when you are using the basic skirt block for a flared design, the darts are closed and the blocks slash and spread to open out the hem to create a flare effect. Panel skirts, otherwise known as god skirts, they also take names from the number of panels that they have taken. So we have 2 panels, we have 3, we have 4, we have 6 gold, depending on the divisions made. One may want to introduce fullness from the hip or knee level or below knee to create a flare skirt, and it is possible. You can do so. So next week when we meet, we are going to do adaptations on each of these very well to see how they'll be able to go to help us. Any question? Any question? Any question? So sleeves, we look at sleeves. We said sleeves are found at armholes of garments and they cover the arms to keep the body warm, apart from giving elegance to the dress. And you realize that when we are looking at dresses, we have 3 types of sleeves. We have set-in sleeves. We also have sleeves cut in one with bodies and sleeves with part of body forming part of the sleeve. These types can be designed in varying styles to create different effects for you to know and for you to understand how different dimensions of it are taken. But on this note, I am done with the unit 3. Ask questions. Ask questions. Yes. Hello. Yes. Any question? Yes. Any question? Why would you mind me? Hello.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, please, we are here.
I am asking if there are
Yes, sir.
if there are. I am done with unit 3.
Ah,
Do you have questions for me? No questions, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So our next meeting we'll look at unit 4, and then we'll also look at unit 5, and we are done. So whilst we are dealing with pattern alteration and pattern adaptations on the basic blocks, we will finish up the rest of the unit. Then we look at it all together. So if you don't have any questions, we'll end at unit 3. Okay, then I'll see you next week.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
thank you, sir.